Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and after a very long time I have a book review on my channel. The last book I reviewed on this channel was The Anarchy, which was a non-fiction book by William Dalrymple. But in today's video I have got a fiction work finally to review, and it is a book that I recently read in the month of June. It is called The Exorcist, and this is one of the most terrifying novels I have read, one of the most terrifying films that I saw afterwards. It is written by William Peter Blatty. It was inspired by a 1949 case of demonic possession and exorcism, and the story centers around a young girl who's called Regan, and she begins to exhibit very bizarre and very terrifying behavior, to which her mother's normal response, her mother's name was Chris, whose normal response was to seek help to, let's say, some like various medical and psychiatrist professionals who she visits, but she doesn't get a solution to it. So desperately she turns to Father Damien Karras, who is a priest struggling with his entire faith, and Father Lancaster Merrin, who is an experienced exorcist, to save her daughter. This is the book called The Exorcist. This is the 50th anniversary edition. It has been in the literary world for quite some time now, because yeah, of course 50th anniversary is a long time. It came out in 1970s, and this book is very, very terrifying if you read it. Now this book is very different from the other horror novels that I have read, just because the amount of scientific detailing which is there in this. So it just doesn't focus on one aspect, which is the horror aspect. It also focuses on multiple and varying perspectives of science, and like of every entire how perceptions work and how the mind works, how temporal lobe is working. So there's a lot of scientific details in the book that also comes afterwards, and then there's a lot of horror element in the entire book. The most exciting thing about this book is the way in which it builds this atmospheric tension, and I really like the way he's built an entire atmospheric tension. So atmospheric tension is something that writers really want to make their novels into, so that it becomes more engaging and readers are like more engaged when there's an atmospheric tension. And in horror books it's like definitely there, in criminal novels as well. Like Agatha Christie's books are very, very famous for atmospheric tensions. Now then, there's also emotional depth. So because all the characters have their own internal struggles going on, that also adds an entire new layer of mystery in the entire story and the book as well. Then there are a lot of philosophical questions which are asked about good, evil, existence of God. And that offers like more than just, jump scares, if you know what I'm talking about. So jump scares are very, very famous, and they are like something which in a book is difficult to manipulate, difficult to write, but in visual forms, I mean, jump scares are very effective. But in books, I think I found jump scares to be very effective in this entire book. And of course there's an engaging prose written, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered to make a review if there wasn't an engaging prose. So Blatty's writing is very clear, it's very compelling, with a pace that maintains suspense throughout the entire 400 pages there are. Now there are some negatives which I really want to point out. The first one is the graphic content. Now I would not suggest this book to anyone below the age of 12 or 13, because there are scenes from the starting which are very intense, which are very violent. It has disturbing imagery, and they might be a put off for some readers. It might be a turn off for some readers as well, because there are very intense and very violent scenes written in a few chapters. But I feel that is very, very important for stories like these to create that kind of atmosphere. But again, if you're below the age of 15 or 16, I wouldn't recommend you this book. Some readers may find this story to go very slow in certain parts. I mean, it slows down a bit, particularly during the initial step when the book is forming the entire story and the plot is brewing. So in the first initial, let's say 50-60 pages might be a bit slow with people who are not very familiar with such topics. And then there's also a slight sense of complicated language, So there's a lot of theological perspectives, a lot of philosophical discussions going on. Might be challenging if you're not familiar with such topics, but if you are familiar or if you want to get familiar, this book is a must read. Wait, where are you going? So if you have loved The Exorcist, you will definitely find my book also compelling, which is Dance in the Windstorm. It's written by me, Aditya Ansh is my name, and Dance in the Windstorm is also a horror fiction. It was not that inspired by The Exorcist, but I did refer to The Exorcist for the research of my book when I was researching. But I read this book in June, like fully, but I had read a few parts of this book back when I was researching for my novel. So this is, if you find 400 pages very long, this is 188 pages long, Dance in the Windstorm. You can check out my first novel because there's like a lot of hard work that I've put into Dance in the Windstorm. You can definitely go and give this a read. It's there available for 350 rupees for paperback distribution, but if you are not a big fan or you don't want to spend 350 rupees, to be honest, you can just go and purchase the Kindle version, which is 50 rupees, and you can definitely add a review down in the comment section below. So with that, I'll put an end to this video. It was great recording after so long, getting back to recording, getting back to reviewing books. So I'm sure you would love The Exorcist, and I hope you loved the video. So with that, I will say goodbye to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Read The Exorcist, read The Dance in the Windstorm. All the links are there in the description box below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.